Hey Time Slicers, welcome to Slice Squad Spills. I'm your host, Nikki Wildflower. I went from a basement apartment to a multiple seven-figure empire. Now I'm here to share how you can do it too. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Slice Squad Spills podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Wildflower, and I'm here with my sister and co-host, Jackie Slice Squad, allegedly. That's what it says your name is, so that's what your name is.
I think we could just run with it. I feel like we've been teasing it, and now it's been labeled. We don't know who labeled it. Mysterious force calling me Jackie Slice Squad, so I'm with it. I think we should just go with that.
Yeah, I guess it's you. So today's episode is going to be the last episode of season 2, but I have to get my coffee. I have my new Pride mug from Disneyland, which is great. Let's do a little catch-up sesh. We went to Laguna Beach. We had our in-person Slice Strands event there, and it was actually during Father's Day weekend, which I love California, by the way. Do you ever feel
awesome?
I fully felt like I could live there.
Here's one fun fact about Nikki, though. No matter where she travels to in the country, so long as there's a city. So not huge on the Midwest necessarily. The one place actually that you've traveled to that has a big city that you have not said, I can envision myself living there, was Seattle or something like that, or Oregon.
Oh, yeah, it's cloudy,
Yeah. But everywhere else we travel to, Arizona, Nevada, South Carolina, Florida, North Carolina, California now, she's like, I don't know. I'm just having this weird feeling you ever feel like you can envision yourself living here everywhere we go?
No, but literally I was taking a ride to out east, when I was doing my biathlon or whatever. And I was like, this is so cute out here. I was very quaint. I love it. And then I just started singing myself a song. You don't have to live everywhere you think is cute. You don't have to live everywhere you think is cute. I also have to sing myself the song, not every hobby has to become a career.
Oh, God, I have to sing that one to myself all the time. I started when I was doing vocal lessons, I'm like, I could teach vocal lessons. This is really awesome. When I started doing adult gymnastics, I'm like, I always have dreamed of opening a gymnastics place. Maybe I'll open one for adults. How niche.
Yeah, when I went to school for hospitality management because I like going on vacation.
You also applied to be a Disney worker.
I would have slapped at that.
You got accepted. You just didn't go.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't go because I was 19 and I was just in love. Yeah, going through it, the ups and downs.
Going through the weird stuff. Yeah.
The tumultuous 19-year-old relationship. But Mom, we're in love. You would never understand. You don't even know what love is.
Nobody gets me.
So that's fun. So we did our Slice Strands event in Laguna, which those events are just pure magic every single time. I'm just every time I do it, I always it's not I get nervous. I get so overwhelmed every time we do an in-person event before the event. Once I'm at the event, I'm like, this is the most magical thing I've ever done in my life. And this is what I want to do all day, every day. We're meant to be amongst the humans,
We are creating a community in the forest, gathering space. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm literally 5 minutes away from that.
I know. But Disney is where we went to.
Oh yeah, and I got a Pride mug. Every time I go to Disney, I get a mug. I've got quite the collection now. Ever since Allison and I started dating, so we have 8 Disney mugs now.
Disney adults.
Yeah, I'm a Disney adult. Yeah, for sure.
I would resonate as 50% Disney adult, 50% making fun of Disney adults.
There's this girl on TikTok who moved to Disney to be amongst the magic. She didn't move to Disney, not inside of Disney.
Okay.
I think she's much happier now.
I'll have to do my own market research on that and form my own opinion on her happiness level.
Who's to say? I'm just going off of what she says, and she says she's happy. So we're going to talk about how to double your income in 90 days. And there's a lot of different paths. So this is going to be the really high level version of this. And then each week in our next season, we're going to break it down kind of bit by bit and go into it that way. This is relevant for hairstylists, massage therapists, medical injectors, salon owners, spa owners,
estheticians, nail techs, lash techs,
service industries.
Industries. Yeah.
This is what you do. All right. First things first. And this is where most people F up. If you don't have a very specific goal of where you want to be, with an actual numeric attachment, you're going to get something that kind of sort of looks like success, but not actually like a fraction of the potential that you have. Do you feel like that? That most people are just like, well, I would love to, I mean, I'm happy. I just like want growth. And I'm like, what does growth mean?
What does that mean? What does that look like? And why? And why do you want it? Because that's another thing. So if you don't have that like really strong, here's the reason why I'm working towards this particular goal. This number right here is going to make this possible. Then it's just an idea. It's not an actual like vision that you can drive
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Because you can't break it down then and work backwards from there and actually put the steps in motion to make it happen if you
No.
don't have anything specific. So I like to tell people I can help you get anywhere, but I can't help you get nowhere. So the first thing that I would ever work on with a consulting client is I want you to really envision what you want your world to look like in a month from now, in a year from now, in 3 and 5 years. And maybe you don't know yet. So maybe we just do the month from now, but we need to have something tangible and specific to work toward to get started.
Yeah.
Then after and I want a very specific number so we can break it down and see how and if we can actually make that happen in a reasonable amount of time. And it must be measurable. So one thing that we do with our consulting clients too is like we have them fill out a tracker every week that shows their percentage increase, how much they did in sales, and you kind of like watch that percentage go up, and that's how we're able to track success. Goals need to be measurable.
Right. If you're not measuring it, if there's no data behind it, again, like there's no specific data, no specific numbers, no specific vision, you're not even going to believe it yourself. And that goes back to mindset. Like you can't believe that you can get somewhere without actually seeing week to week that you are experiencing growth. So you're measuring, oh, we're on an upward trajectory. It's like the best of both worlds, being a creative, having the vision, the idea, and then actually seeing how it's possible.
Yeah, it has to be also like realistic.
Right. Can't just be like, I want to make $1 million in 30 days from now.
I blur the lines between what's realistic and sometimes I do. Like I make some pretty like outlandish goals, but they are achievable. So they have to be achievable. They have to be realistic and relevant. I'm going off like the SMART goals framework, but that's where you start. Your goals have to be relevant to your why, right? How is this relevant to what I want to achieve in my life? And they need to be time bound. You got to give yourself time. You got to give yourself a time to make specific things happen. Otherwise, it doesn't. So then once you know what you want your future to look like, it's really all about from that point, knowing what it would take to get there and who you need to be to get there. But that's not despite what you feel like. And I know we've talked about that a lot because there are some times where I'm poo-poo cock, I don't feel like it. And there are some times where I'm like hyped and do feel like it. That can affect whether or not you take action. So once you know what those goals are, you need to break those down into relevant action steps and actually like set them in place and start scheduling yourself correctly to actually make them happen. You have time, you're just not utilizing it well. And sometimes when you have these really big goals, and what we often find is that you'll have big goals and then there's this huge mountain of stuff that you would need to do to get there, but you don't actually like plan your time accordingly or even break it down into little steps. And so, which is something that we also help people do. But once you break it down into steps, it's like, if you don't actually put it on your calendar and like take the actions on it and set the time aside to make it happen, you won't do it because it's just looming over your head. So the other day, I had this huge to-do list. Like I just knew that I had a lot of work to do, but I didn't like actually take the time to write down, or it was on a weekend. So normally I don't like time block my weekends, but I was like, I'm going to wake up at 5 this morning just so I can get work done before I go to the beach. So I wake up at 5 and I'm like, what does that mean? Get work done. Like what will I be doing exactly? And it just felt like too much and I didn't do it.
Mm.
When I have it broken down into smaller steps, it's much more manageable and I actually can focus on just that one thing. And it has to be on my calendar. So plan the night before.
Another thing that kept coming up when we did the roundtable sessions in Laguna, what kept coming up was like this idea of analysis paralysis, where you have all of these looming tasks and you're like, I want to get to my bigger picture goal. And then, you just end up shutting down because you haven't like created baby steps for yourself to get there. So I want to say, and we've said this in multiple episodes, but I want to drive it home again. You cannot change your world tomorrow. Conceptualizing the goal, right? And then saying, well, I know I need to do all of the things that Naki and Jackie is what I almost just said. Jackie and Nikki talked about in this episode of the podcast, and expect to get all of those tasks done tomorrow and sustain that and like create a consistent flow on trying to do 500 things. Like overnight, you're not going to lose 100 pounds, right? Like it doesn't happen overnight. Focus. If you're doing 0 things, just focus on doing like 1 tomorrow.
1% better every day.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Every day in every way. We get better and better and better.
Yep.
So baby steps.
Baby steps there. So one of the first things that you really need to work on, and everyone's like, oh, I don't need to work on my mindset. I'm just straight up business. And I'm like, no, you do. Every single day in every single way. You
have to focus on your mindset.
So do the inner work and get yourself to a place where you're able to overcome fear and work through fear, because a lot of this stuff is scary. Taking action is scary. Humans will do anything to avoid pain, and our brains are wired to think that they're protecting us. And so we don't take action because the fear of that pain is greater than the dream that we want to create. But you can't get there if you're not willing to work through the fear, and you need to do the inner work to be able to have the confidence to do that. So, and to actually take the action.
And the self-awareness to actually say, you know what? I don't have to do things the way that I thought was correct. Like this is an uncomfortable thing that I'm super unfamiliar with, or this action step challenges my belief system, and I'm going to open myself up and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of like ego, toying with like, it's okay to have an ego, and you have to, especially as a business owner, you have to have a little bit of ego. Everyone has one. Otherwise we would be floating potatoes on the planet. But just being able to like pull it in and like actually look at yourself or the stories that you're telling yourself and say, you know what? I'm willing to challenge that thought that I had and do something uncomfortable or scary.
Sometimes I wish I was a floating potato.
Me too.
I'm like, why did I choose this life? No, I love it. I love every second of it. First thing that you're going to need, then after that, you have your goal, right? You need to know, who is my ideal client? Who are they? Where do they live? What do they do? Where do they hang out? What do they value? What problems do they have? Like, know who you serve. Because really, at the end of the day, solving one problem for one person is enough to build a massively successful business. Just one problem for one person, not an actual one person.
People get really confused on that. Like, speak to one person, they're like, what?
You figure out who your ideal client is. But I like to do a variety of things. That's not to say you don't do other things, but when you're doing your marketing and you really want to niche down, which I recommend that you do, the riches are in the niches. You need to be really clear about who that person is and what they're about, because it's going to help you connect with people in your marketing. Because for that one person, there's a lot of other people that are like that person, and they will specifically feel like you're talking to them and connecting with them when you figure out like the pain points of that one person.
So I feel like a lot of our consulting clients have really, really struggled with this concept of niche in the beginning, especially people who feel like, well, I want to offer all the things and do all the things, right? And I don't want to just speak to one person. Like, it doesn't have to be, I only have one service on my menu. You just have to speak to this concept of a human, or someone maybe that you actually are already working with might represent that exact ideal client. So I've outlined it before. Like one of my favorite massage clients, I won't say her name. She comes in every 3 weeks. She gets a 90-minute massage with cupping. She's honest. She's down to earth. She respects me as a body worker and business owner. She's stressed at work. So she likes deep work, but she's like open to relaxing her nervous system and how important that is. She knows that I'm not a healer or fixer, like all of the things that I want to speak to. And so when I was creating my like niche and trying to understand how I help or solve a problem for my ideal client, I kind of used that specific client to get there. And so I came up with, I help busy and stressed individuals get in touch with their body and regulate their nervous systems through tailored body work. I do this by focusing on meeting people where they are at each day, not claiming to fix or heal, and offering practical skills and resources for them to focus on between sessions. So it doesn't have to be, I do this one particular type of service only, and that's your niche. Like I said, through tailored bodywork, but it's still specific and it's still speaking to one person.
And to give another example, for me, when I was more like full-time in the hair realm, my ideal client, like I figured out her name was Avery, not a real person. She liked to have, I mean, like she loved her hair, really busy, CEO, hung out at very specific restaurants and stuff like that, cares a lot about her hair, but can't sit still, like does not, cares what she looks like, values that a lot, but also really values their time. So and that's like who I would talk to, somebody who is really busy, but also really values their appearance. And so I came up with, I help busy individuals get the hair of their dreams in a fraction of the time so they can go back to living their busy lives. I do this by implementing my signature time slicing systems. That's it. That's who I serve. So I'm talking to busy people who want to look great all the time.
There you go. I'm talking to busy, stressed people who want to feel calm.
Yeah. And then you figure out what channel you're going to speak to. But here's the thing. So most people be like, I got to figure out my ideal client. They'll like freak out and focus on the wrong thing first. So like when we have a consulting client, somebody might come to us and be like, so yes, we have a blueprint, but where somebody would start in that blueprint really depends on where they're at. So if a consulting client comes to us like I was, let's say 6 years ago, and they're already fully booked and they have a lot of those ideal clients, but they're taking too long on their services, that's the first thing that we're going to do. We are going to work on their efficiency so that they can create more space in their schedule. And then after that, once those spots fill in, then the next move that we would do is to increase their prices based on the demand. Or we might do those simultaneously together. But if somebody comes in and says, if somebody comes to us and they don't have enough of the clients they want in their chair, then that's going to be our first focus. Or if somebody comes in and has too many of the types of clients that they don't want, now we have to implement a price increase, find a way to make space in their schedule so that they can make room for more of those ideal clients. So it really depends kind of where the starting point is at when somebody comes to us, but there's always ways to make it work, but what you start with is based on where you are. Like even a salon owner, they might come to us and their main problem is actually, once we dig into it, we see that it's leadership. Like you're not holding your team accountable, which is a huge one. Like, oh, we expect people to just do it on their own. Like, oh, you should be searching for your own clients. Like, freak, do I have to do this for you? You see me out here hustling. How come you're not out here hustling? And they won't, because you have to give them the same way that we're asking you to make specific and measurable goals. You do the same with your team and hold them to it every day. Like every day we have meetings where we're like, this is what I'm doing today. This is what I'm going to get accomplished today. Hold me to it.
Accountability, baby. It's important. Another place where I've seen clients start is like their marketing strategy is great. They're bringing in a lot of new clients on a regular, consistent basis that are their ideal clients. And they just they're still not retaining their books at a certain level, like week over week. And so sometimes people need to start on focusing on like a nurture sequence and tweaking kind of the client experience that they're giving, the verbiage around rebooking and stuff like that. So there are so many different starting points. It's not just like one exact boom, boom for every single person.
And sometimes somebody is really busy, and in the interim where they still have a lot of those clients that they don't want, and there's kind of a transitional period, because we don't waste any freaking time. Like I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're gonna just dig in here and actually make shit happen. So sometimes, like if somebody, I'm wearing Christmas pants, don't mind me. So sometimes when somebody comes in and like they know they have to do a price increase because they're too busy or break up with some clients, there's this transitional period where those clients are still going to be in their chair for a little while because that transition is going to take a little while, announcements, the whole thing. Obviously, like the way that we're going to increase at that point is to work smarter and optimize the schedule, and also with upsell services.
Efficiency and business structure too. When you're that busy, like there is no reason for you to not have an online booking system and an online, like jot forms, type forms for your clients to fill out, potential clients, because you don't really even have the space. It's
Mhm.
different when you're still building.
Your starting point's going to be different, but the actual blueprint of it is kind of the same. It just depends on what your starting point is. So, like, ideal clients, get the ideal. So, mindset, that's an ongoing thing. Inner work, that's an ongoing thing, because you have to keep yourself in a place where you're actually going to continue to action on things and be able to work through the fear of actually making it happen. Then, of course, and also kind of learn how to prioritize your time and be more productive and actually work on growing your business instead of just like fighting chaos all day long. The next thing, and then obviously the ideal client, you need to figure out who your ideal client is. Make sure that those are the people that end up in your place of business. And then once you have that, you really need to figure out, like, optimize your business. So optimize, if you're in a position where you can optimize your efficiency, whether that be through the actual service itself. Like if you're a hairstylist, there's a lot of ways that you could make more money in less time, and cuts and shortcuts, tips and tricks to make that happen. And also there are business things you can do to make that happen, like cutting down your consultation time by doing a lot of that stuff prior to them getting there. When your business is optimized and all that, then you need to work on your pricing structure, your client retention, your upsells. Once you are like fully optimized and you're a machine, then you can focus on passive income. I highly
Yeah.
don't recommend doing that until you are in a place where you're like, I have like a machine going I'm fully booked solid with my ideal clients every so months. Because of that, I will raise my prices so I can continually be growing. And that's when you bring in other income streams.
100%. I want to say too, marketing's always going to be consistent as well. So here's something that I've seen before is that, like, I'm fully booked now with my ideal client, and all efforts that were put into making that happen go out the
Go out
window.
the window.
And then 5 of your highest ticket clients move to another state by chance or something, right? You haven't been consistently marketing anymore, and you're kind of completely out of that pattern of just doing that task on a regular basis and nurturing your community that you've created for yourself through socials, through maybe your email pipeline, like whatever method you go for. There are so many ways to bring in ideal clients. It's not just Instagram posting. Like we'll dive deeper into it, but on another episode. But there are so many directions you can go in, and a lot of the times we can get complacent, I think, as humans. Like, okay, I've made it happen. This was the goal. And so I stopped marketing, and then, okay, and now what? If something does
I stopped
happen.
taking new clients. Like if you can't take new clients, that's not good. You have to take new clients. You should be taking new clients because it will dry out if you don't. So, and then if you don't have space in your book, so that's why, like, I could post something and say, this took me 2 hours and it's a $2,600 service, and people will be like, how dare you? And I'm like, you don't decide my prices. Demand decides my prices. So if I want to, and because my time is not scalable and I've got limited time to actually do hair, if I'm completely full and I can't get people in, then I must continue to raise my prices as long as the demand is there so that I can continue having that stream of new clients coming in. So how dare you, with no business knowledge, tell me that that's not how it should be? You don't get to decide what's valuable for other people. And I'm sorry that makes you angry. Instead of it making you angry, it should fuel you. If you think I'm lazy and not talented and I can make that much, that should fuel you to the point of knowing that you can too.
That's it. And all the while, you're making money and your value is there. Your clients see that. Yes, maybe you price some out. However, you've continued to market, you've continued to give value to the people who are following you, who are not yet your clients, right? Your potential clients, future clients that you continue to make space for because the value is really high. And so you get to increase your prices, or someone moves, and you have your Google reviews like there. So like making sure that you're sustaining the well-oiled machine in every single way. You just said like the most sassy thing. I'm like, anyway.
Yeah. No, I am sassy today.
Good.
Because I just, I like to do posts with like the price breakdown, and there's other stylists that are just holding. They're so angry at me,
Hmm.
and they've got every excuse as to why it shouldn't be and why it isn't for them, or that they would never pay for that. And I'm like, okay, I would.
I would too. Hello. They can sit with that themselves and do some inner work if they'd like, or sit in anger.
I'm just like,
And
you want to talk about it?
they could talk about it with their therapist. They could journal about it. This is why, actually, we don't work with just anybody in our extension certification, in our consulting services. We don't. We need you to be open-minded and be able to like have enough space and understanding to have your belief systems challenged, because they will be. Like it's never going to be easy or comfortable. We're going to challenge you and we're going to make it happen. Like Nikki said, we don't waste time.
No,
You
like
came here
my
for a
client,
reason.
my
Let's
client,
go.
like my client who I just want to say, like I have a client who I've helped get a $2,000 per week price increase within 2 weeks of starting with me. And the first week I said, I said something and she's like, well, that makes me nervous. And I said, okay, that makes you nervous? Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. You're going to do it
Everything
anyway?
makes me nervous. Every day I'm nervous.
I am a nervous system.
I am a nervous system. Is the
So
funniest thing.
she's like, I'm scared. I'm scared. And I'm like, okay, cool. But you're going to do it, right? I'm not going to tell you not to be scared. I'm going to tell you that the only way to get over fear is to just plow through it directly and take action. Do you trust that I know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay, cool. Because that's the other thing. Like it's funny because I didn't I didn't learn business from like a salon coach or anything like that. I modeled business after after other successful business models, and that's kind of like one of the things that like sets us apart. So I would see people with these like really really like high functioning fruitful businesses, and I would hire them to be my mentor, and I'm like, but no one's doing this in the hair industry. Why are they not doing this? When it comes to acquiring new clients, when it comes to the way that we approach things, I'm like, our approach is taken from like other industries that are wildly successful and kind of fine tuned toward service providers.
Yep.
And it works.
It works. It works over and over and over again for hundreds, thousands of hairstylists. I feel like a lot. I think thousands maybe at this point. And now building on other service providers as well. And it works. Copy pasted. It works.
But that being said, I won't just take anybody on. Like, we will not just take anybody on. Not for the Ascension certification and not to be a consulting client, because in the beginning, like there was a time where we were just like, yeah, of course, like we could help you. While that was probably true, they couldn't help themselves. And I knew that, and I shouldn't have signed them up. I should not have signed them up because I knew that they probably weren't going to get over what was going on in their head in order to actually get there. Like, I can give you all the tools to get there, but if you have a really closed off mindset, or your business is just like not in a place, or you're going through something like really tumultuous outside and you're not going to show up for yourself, then I don't want it. And I also do not want anybody who's complacent.
We need people in a growth mindset who are open
You got to come in spicy. I don't
and
want it.
showing up.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you are going to come in here and not do anything, I will look you square in the eyes. I do not want your money.
Absolutely not. We are not for everyone. Everyone is not for us. We get to be selective.
Yep. And
that's an integrity of our business, period.
And that is a lesson that has been learned in time from maybe
With that being said, oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm going to attach an application. So that's the other thing. I don't know what the best thing for your business is. I don't know if it's the extension certification. I don't know if it's consulting. I don't know if it's both. I don't know what you need, or none. I do not know what you need unless you fill out a form and we can kind of dig in with you and figure it out. So we're going to attach like a kind of like initial interview kind of form for the most part. If you're making less than $2,500 a month, $5,000 a month really might not be the right time unless you really have that like fire in you, because I would have done it with $0, like making $0 a month. But that takes like a lot of, it's just I'm not saying I'm a special kind of person, but like it's a mindset thing.
It is.
So that doesn't mean no, but we would be really cautious about it. But fill out the application and then we can have a member of our team reach out to you, ask you some questions and see if there's a way that we can help you. We go into it like, I don't know if it's going to be a good match for you or for us, and we'll just see if it is. Either way, when you get on a session with one of our team members, what I can promise you is that you're going to get an immense amount of value out of that.
Mm-hmm. Without a reasonable doubt.
Whether or not it is a good fit. Because if it's not, and you're not in the right place, what's really cool about our team is they're going to give you resources and tools to see if maybe that can help move the needle forward for you a little bit.
Application below, will that be for just hairstylists?
It's a general application.
Okay, cool.
And
then
use
that appy below.
Yeah, we'll see if we can help you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for season 2. It's been fun, and season 3 is going to be broken down into little bits. We'll bring on some guests as well who have done the things and transformed their business. And we appreciate all of you. Please like, review, subscribe, the whole shebang. Do it all.
Wait, can we like come up with a closer, like a closing statement? Like, I don't know if you're a little bit too old for this one, but like on like now, because it's Mike's Super Short Show, like something funny.
I am too old for that, I think, but
Slice Squad on 3, ready 1, 2, 3.
No, I hate that. Slice Squad on 3.
That's why I did it.
I know. We're not doing Slice Squad on 3. We're gonna do
Wiggity Wiggity Wiggity.
Yeah. Then we get sued
Rocket
by
Power.
The producers of Rocket Power.
Rocket Power. When this podcast blows up, we get sued.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll figure one out. Unless
stay slicing.
Stay slicing.
Stay slicey.
Stay slicey, baby.
We'll try it on. We'll see if it works. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Slice Squad Spills. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe, leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback is going to help us improve and attracts more listeners to the show. Please share with your fellow time slicers. And hey, if you're ready to optimize your time and double your income, we've got you covered.